Okay, so I think this thing is focused where I want it to be now. So this little bit of the project has been a bit of a fiasco. Um, partially, part of it was me making poor choices. Part of it was, well, again, me making poor choices on material, I guess you could say. But at any rate, um, so pretend this part isn't on there, and this was on there instead. This was the original assembly, and it went through a hole right here. So I decided, since this is pretty badly worn and this is pretty badly worn, to just go ahead and modify it in a similar fashion to what I did one of my John Deere decks. Basically, a stud and a heavy-duty sleeve. So the only catch is, I thought I would be clever and make this a little bit thicker so that it would take longer for it to wear. But the problem is, and while I anticipated or tried to anticipate the fact that the spring was going to decrease in circumference as it tightens up, but unfortunately I didn't count on it quite enough, and I didn't give myself enough space. So it's back to the drawing board a little bit. I need to remove some more off of the outer diameter of this. Now, another funny part of the story is, this is some of the material that I've got that's slightly hardened, and I can drill it with my good small diameter drill bits, but I have to be really careful using the bigger, cheaper, high-speed steel drill bits. And evidently, I must have work hardened it partway through, about 3/8 of an inch in. I was drilling it out with an 11/16 drill bit, and I got to a point where the drill bit pretty much just stopped. The drill bit was dull, so I wound up having to sharpen the drill bit a few different times before I finally found a system or a technique that would go through the material without destroying the drill bit and making me have to resharpen it every couple minutes or so. So anyways, not only was an area in here, a band, hardened, but also the whole thing was tapered. Now, I was able to use the taper to my advantage, so I just turned this guy to a taper also to match this, but I couldn't easily come up with a good way to remove that work-hardened ring. The boring bars that I have at my disposal right now are high-speed steel, so I had to use a piece of carbide to get in there. And the only carbide holder I had that was small enough to get in there only gave me about that much reach. So I got in there, I got past that, and I just deepened or increased the inside diameter of this a little bit through this area right here. So that whole work hardened area in theory is gone, but now the issue is I need to make clearance around this for the spring to contract. So I thought about, setting up the faceplate on one of the lathes. I thought about, oh, and of course this stud was welded on to there also, so I had to drive it out so I could make room for this. Anyways, I thought about, I could use the faceplate, or I could secure it in the mill vise and go at it with my boring head. But then I got to thinking, I think I might have a better solution for it, or one that's going to be quicker, easier to set up, and still give me my end goal, which was to have a little greater footprint here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera, and I'm going to go set this up and get it started, and I'll show you guys what I got in mind here. Where's that pause button? Okay, well, hopefully now you guys can kind of see where I'm going with this thing. I figured it'd be a lot quicker and easier to just hit it with the grinder, and hopefully I can just remove material from this area here and keep this wider base here. So we'll see. I got the machine set at about 60 RPM. Oh, I'm going to grab my earplugs real quick. I'm not fond of the screaming grinder. So here we go. We'll see how this works out. Yeah. Slow that down a little more. Yeah, that'll work. Alright, let's see what this will do for me. Well, at any rate, you guys get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this again and spend a little more time with the grinder on it. And then I'm going to probably go back over it with a file and try to smooth things out a little bit more. Then I'll show you guys how it's going to fit here later on. Okay, so I didn't go over it with the file like I said. I wound up hitting it a little bit with my bench grinder. So I was able to get the back side of it cleaned up a little bit, so it's semi-respectable in appearance, at least on part of it. So it's it doesn't have to be pretty on this surface here to do what it's supposed to do. But anyways, oh, and I forgot another area where I goofed up at is I was supposed to leave a stud sticking up out of here so that I could get a circlip on it, and I don't know what the heck I was thinking, because it just, anyways, I blew that one also. But what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to drill and tap this for a 1/4 inch bolt or 3/8 inch bolt, and give myself a spacer and a fender washer on there, and I think I'll be in good shape. Obviously I'll have to weld that back on, but now I say I pretty much got it. I'm happy with that, considering how much I screwed it up beforehand, but it looks like it's gonna do what it needs to do now. So anyways, I saved that one from catastrophe. It's funny, the clutch driveline thing went so well on this 86, and then the deck has been just a 3-ring circus. I mean, it's funny, you know, how projects will do that sometimes to you. But I guess you take the good with the bad, right? So anyways, I'll catch up with you guys later.